What a disastrous week for the National Football League, with that disaster turning into a flaming ass fire last night at the Super Bowl. I know Bad Booger and his pretend friends in the mainstream media are celebrating his performance. I know Benny Acasio is being heralded as a beacon of unity. Even though my name is Bad Bunny, I'm a friendly bunny. Bad Booger and the useless jock sniffers in the mainstream media, they might be celebrating his desecration of America, but I'll tell you who's not celebrating: the NFL and their broadcast partners at NBC. Earlier this afternoon, Congressman Randy Fine demanded that the FCC take immediate action against NBC and the NFL. Although most of us had no idea what the hell Benito was singing last night, seems that Randy Fine has been brushing up on his Espanol. He provided some of the lyrics to one of the classics that were performed last night by Bad Booger. Randy Fine took the liberty of translating the lyrics from Spanish to English. The lyrics appear to be from the timeless classic, "That Carrot Was in My Ass." Check them out for yourself. Now, whether or not these lyrics are offensive, that is a matter of interpretation. Me personally, I am all for giving artists creative liberties to express themselves musically, but what is not a matter of interpretation is the fact that these lyrics are not allowed on FCC airwaves, which means the NFL and NBC could be in deep shit. But problems with the FCC, that is just the beginning of the problems that the NFL could be facing. Last night, somewhere between 10 and 25 million people boycotted the halftime show of the Super Bowl. Now, ratings have yet to be released for the Super Bowl. I know dorks on Twitter are claiming that 130 million people watched Bad Booger last night, mesmerized lonely men with his seductive bunny twerking. At this point, we have no idea how many people were watching the Super Bowl last night. What we do know is between 10 and 25 million turned off the anti-American garbage that the NFL was presenting at halftime. Like I told you guys this morning, there is a perfect storm brewing right now in the NFL after years of hesitancy, after years of putting it off. It appears that Uncle Roger and friends have fully committed to embracing the woke wiener. The NFL is neglecting their American audience in a desperate attempt to appeal to a global audience. We've seen this movie before. We have seen what happens when a league alienates half their audience. 6 years ago, as the product on the court was diminishing due to load management, along with players refusing to take the regular season seriously, the NBA decided to fully embrace the woke fungus. NBA players were kneeling for the national anthem. LeBron James was delivering passionate sermons on the dangers of mythical racism. The NBA was anti-police. Sound familiar? The two biggest performers at the Super Bowl last night, Bad Booger and Green Day, they are both anti-ICE. The NBA's embrace of wiener, the NBA's dedication to diversity led to the lowest ratings in the history of the league. For a while, the NBA was damn near on life support. And that same storm is brewing right now in the NFL. The combination of embracing the woke fungus while offering your viewers a product that is clearly declining. Make sure to like and subscribe. You can follow me on Twitter at KC_BTL84. Link to the second channel is in the description below. Earlier today on the second channel, talked about one of the aspects of LeBron's legacy. Maybe some believe this is LeBron's greatest achievement: the destruction of the dunk contest. Once again, star NBA players are refusing to participate in the dunk contest. I explain why LeBron James is to blame. So if you haven't already, click the link in the description below, subscribe to the second channel. The Super Bowl last night And I'm talking about the product on the field. I'm talking about the actual football, which the NFL doesn't want us to talk about for obvious reasons. The Super Bowl last night was a microcosm of the 2025 NFL season. My daughter was in the living room last night as we were watching the game. At some point during the third quarter, she said, "Why aren't you paying attention? I thought you loved football." Yeah, I do love football. The NFL's always been my favorite league. But over the last 2, maybe 3 years, I find myself less and less interested in the product that the NFL is offering. Mainly because it's boring. Earlier this afternoon, I went through every game of the NFL season to calculate margin of victory. Historically, NFL games are decided by 3 or 4 points. We are used to seeing highly competitive games in this league. Now, full transparency here. I calculated all of this myself. I went through 272 games, so I'm sure there were some mistakes. I'm sure I made some miscalculations at some point, but overall, this is fairly accurate. Average margin of victory in the NFL this season, 11 points, which means there were a shitload of blowouts. Matter of fact, out of 272 games, 125 were decided by 10 or more points, which means 46% of the games in the NFL this season were blowouts. That is essentially half the season. Is it any wonder why the 2025 NFL season was so boring? Is it any wonder why every week was the drizzling shits? The question is why? Why were there so many blowouts? Why was it so uncompetitive? Well, Uncle KC, the league is top heavy. There's a lot of great teams and a lot of bad teams. There's little to no mediocrity. As we saw last night, there were really only 2 elite teams in the NFL this season: the Seahawks and the Rams. Everyone else was stuck between being decent and being the shits. I think the reason we saw an abundance of blowouts is because quarterback play in this league has drastically declined. Even the 2 quarterbacks last night, Sam Darnold, Drake May, they're not great. They're okay. Drake May is still young. He's got the potential to become great, but he had one of the worst postseasons on record. This league has a serious problem at quarterback, and it's a problem that I don't think can be solved. This is the first generation of NFL quarterbacks that were kids during the concussion scandal, the same concussion scandal that scared the shit out of American mothers. Youth football rates have declined by 13%. In some areas, it's declined by 50%. According to WCCO in Minnesota, a youth football league in St. Paul went from almost 700 kids in 2016 down to 349 in 2019. By 2022, the park no longer offered football due to a complete lack of interest. Well, Casey, who cares? What does this have to do with the NFL? If kids aren't growing up playing football, if they're not learning the fundamentals at a young age, by the time they're in high school and college, they're either not playing or they are years behind in their development. Maybe, just maybe, that is why we are seeing such a drastic decline at the quarterback position in the NFL. Maybe the NFL no longer has access to the best athletes, and the quarterbacks that they're getting are severely underdeveloped. It's just a theory, but there is no denying the fact that the quality of play at the quarterback position in this league has drastically declined. Hell, Matt Stafford just won his first MVP at 37 years old when he was competing against Drew Brees, Tom Brady, when the league was filled with Peyton Manning's prime Aaron Rodgers, Big Ben. Matt Stafford couldn't win a damn game. The legendary quarterbacks retire. All of a sudden, Matt Stafford is winning Super Bowls and he's the MVP of the league years past his prime. You combine the declining product with the NFL's dedication to diversity. You combine the abundance of blowouts and boring games with the anti-American garbage that the league presented last night, and you have a recipe for disaster. Nothing is designed to dominate forever. When you have been on top for this long, usually there's only one way for you to go: down. Why do you think the NFL is pushing to expand globally? How much more growth can they see in the American market? There are 135 million households in America. If the Super Bowl is drawing 130 million viewers, there's minimal growth left. For years now, the NFL has been immune to backlash. Outside of Colin Kaepernick kneeling for the national anthem, the NFL's been the one league that's been immune to boycotts. But last night pissed a lot of people off. Was it enough to keep hardcore NFL fans from watching next season? Probably not. But it could have been enough to keep the casual fan from watching. The only thing that will discourage the hardcore fan, guys like me, the only thing that will keep us from watching the NFL is a substandard product, which is exactly what the NFL has presented the last couple of years, and it keeps getting worse. Now, to their credit, the playoffs were phenomenal, for the most part anyway, but NFL Red Zone was absolutely terrible this season. Almost half the games in the regular season were unwatchable. You combine that with the outrage from last night. How long is this sustainable? How can the NFL continue to grow their ratings in America with a substandard product while alienating a sizable portion of the American audience? How long is it sustainable? You tell me. Sound off in the comments below. I'll see you guys tomorrow.